Get
Awesome.
it thumping a little bit.
Awesome intro.
uh, welcome, welcome, welcome. Let me go ahead and share this out if it pops up. Here, see. Comes up. Oh, that's interesting. Am I not live? Says I'm live.
Yeah.
It's not
Says it on
showing.
my end too.
Oh well. Let's click this. There we go. Hope everybody's having a good night. Uh, I don't expect too many people here, but because I haven't been live on this channel for about a year. So, um, yeah, my first guest is Eric. Everybody knows who Eric is,
Everybody knows that guy.
and he's a good. He's knowledgeable in the art of fishing. So I figured it'd be a good time to get him up here.
Yes.
Let me go ahead and share this out. There, that's good enough. Um, yeah. Oh, look at the little fishies.
There's my friend from northern Florida there.
So, which do you prefer freshwater or ocean?
Oh, that's a tough one. Because, well, I don't see much. Well, I can freshwater fish here, but it's been so long. It's
You probably have to go a good ways, don't you?
an hour or
Yeah.
local ponds, and that would be bass fishing. That's like you can
Oh,
5 minute drive. But I would say saltwater, just
saltwater.
because I got a boat. I got a boat ramp that's less than a mile from the house, and
Yeah.
it's just easy.
Uh, It's big variety of fish too.
Yeah,
Because usually, if you go into a lake or something, it's like a bass or something like that. You go in the streams, it's
trout.
trout, and
Hmm.
yeah,
Down like where I fish is basically I'm an inshore fisherman. I do go offshore when I get an invite, but my boat I
yeah,
don't take my boat offshore. So inshore is redfish, snook, sea trout, tarpon, mackerel, cirro mackerel. Sometimes you'll get a kingfish inshore under the bridges. You got grouper. Once in a while, a snapper, the mangrove snapper, cobia. Of course, ladyfish. They hit everything. Good evening, Lake. Um, there's just a flounder. There's just a even bluefish. The same strain of bluefish that's up by Grace. They actually migrate down here and
yeah. I heard about the bluefish.
with their chompers.
Well, you know, Little Red was
Right.
that they were out fishing for that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the mom was real knowledgeable.
Yeah.
As soon as you catch them, bleed them out.
Yep. Any
Yeah,
oily fish are
yeah.
darker. Darker. The darker the meat, the sooner you need to bleed them. So,
What are some of the stuff that you eat uh, down there in Florida
uh,
that you catch?
well, when I used to bring it home, it was redfish, snook, um, sea trout. That's one of my favorite fish to catch. And you get pan fry them, broil them, deep fry them, bake them.
Yeah, I've
Um,
never. I've had plenty of trout, mainly when I was in New York in the stream. That's all there was trout.
right.
Um, is brown and rainbow trout.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What's Is there a difference between the saltwater version of trout?
Well, they're all salmonoids, so you know. Now I don't know if that crosses over when freshwater meets salt. Um, you can find, well, there's a lot of salmon that are sea-run salmon, but where do they go? They go back to where they first were born.
Yeah, that's true.
It's up into the fresh water upstream. So Mother Nature has its way of, sending them back where they started. But that one I'll have to look up. I'm pretty sure they're. I know most trout are in the salmon family, so I would think that that's where I really, really like to go is Argentina, and for the large brown trout that they have in the streams, and the sea-run brown trout is incredible fish. And New Zealand, that's another big fishery I'd like to get to, but that's wishful
Oh
thinking.
yeah. There's a channel that I watch, and it started from a TV show, and he said he was a YouTuber and stuff. So I went and found out who he was and stuff. Parlay Revival is the name of the boat, and he went and when they had a hurricane down, I think in the Bahamas. I'm not 100% on that, but they had a bad hurricane went through there and annihilated a bunch of boats, and he got a boat for cheap, a destroyed boat for $70,000, which is a good deal because they're like $1 million.
Yeah,
These boats.
yeah.
And he didn't know how to repair a boat or anything and just did it. And
You say he's on TV now?
Well, he's on Below Deck.
Okay.
It's a
Right.
It's a TV show where these rich people get on a boat and they take care of them for a
Right.
week, and then But anyways, the main reason I followed him was because of his dogs, because he takes his dogs on the boat with him, and
Right.
one of them during the show he was talking about it. One of his dogs died of cancer, and he was real heartbroken over it and stuff, and
Right.
everybody hated on him because of this. Him crying and stuff on TV because of a dog, and that's why I went to his channel. But anyway, he got this boat going. The boat's been struck by lightning twice. And
Time's a charm.
he's going all the way around the world on this boat. And he went from Mexico to Maui. And
Wow.
some of the fishing that they did on the way, oh man, that's how they fed themselves.
Sure.
And I mean, that'd be the best thing. Just sit there and fish all the time. All they do is set the pole out there, and then when they get a fish, they cut the sails down a little bit and then reel it in.
Right.
And that's dinner. They caught some big tunas and all kinds of stuff.
Oh yeah, tuna fishing up in the Northeast. I mean, that you've probably seen it, wicked tuna or whatever they call it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean,
them big boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huge amounts of money for those fish. Of course, they ship them to Japan. They don't get the big money here. They ship them.
Oh yeah.
That's where they pay for the sushi. Yeah.
Raw fish. Yeah. What was the fish? Because everybody's got one. That big fish, or that fish that gets you hooked on fishing.
What was the fish that got me hooked?
Yeah.
Oh boy. That's I got to go way back for that one.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it's probably, I don't know, maybe I was 5 or 6. I'm going to say a largemouth bass.
Oh, okay.
And
Um,
I believe my father casted out a top water lure just so I could actually see it, bobbling back and forth. They call that walking the dog. It darts this way, that way, this way, that way. And
yeah,
just the explode that is my favorite type of fishing, is sight fishing with topwater lure, because of the explosion you get from under.
yeah,
Just the boom, or
yeah.
as some people we know say whoosh, and that. So I would say largemouth bass, if I had to get a good guess. That's what started it.
Yeah, mine was on a cane pole in my grandpa's pond. He had a big catfish and said nobody will ever catch that catfish. It's too smart and this and that. And uh, I I got some homemade bread that he had baked the night before, and made a dough ball out of it and put it out there and caught a hold of that thing. I couldn't get him up on the bank, so I put the cane pole over my shoulder and
Right.
ran up the bank until I got over the bank and got him up there. And came in the house yelling, "I got him! I got him! I got him!" And that was it for me.
That
I
was
was
it. That
I
was
was stuck
dinner that night,
fishing.
right?
No,
No.
we put him back. Yeah.
No. Catfish are good eating. You get them in the right spot.
Oh yeah, yeah. And that pond would freeze over every year, but the
Hmm.
the fish would still be there.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
that that amazed me how that pond would freeze up, and sometimes it would come close to drying up too.
Was it spring fed or?
I can't remember. I just know it. Whenever I went, that's the first place I went. Is I'd grab a cane pole and go out there and fish.
Right. Yeah. My great granddad had a small farm up in Brooklyn, Connecticut. I think their house was 1690. Something dated that, something like that. It was
Oh wow!
big old colonial. It was the kind of house where the fireplace was huge, and a huge hearth, and it went straight up, and every single room had a connection to the fireplace as it went up higher and higher.
Oh,
That's how they heated all the bedrooms. But no, B, I haven't speared fish.
uh,
I got nothing against that, but cast
what
netting, yeah, that's for bait, like for
what
shiners or
about
big chubs.
bow fishing?
Nope, never tried it. I would try
I
it.
would. I'd like to.
Hmm.
Yeah, I've seen them people do it on them kayaks. And I'm like, I don't know if I'd trust myself. I'd
Well,
end up falling down and shoot
you,
straight up in the air and
if you
put a
hook
hole in
up
my
a
boat.
big enough fish, you're going for a ride until the fish is
Yeah.
done. Because,
Uh,
but yeah,
yeah.
I've seen. Let's see. So I've been here since what 95, but I've always come down as a young man, every summer,
Yeah.
and I've seen uh, guys fishing on just a local pier that only went out like maybe 50 feet, and it was late at night, and they were fishing a big open face reel, like the setup like Quint had on the back of the Orca and Jaws, and they're
Oh
sitting
yeah.
there, and we were walking around, and just checking things out, and all of a sudden that reel started screaming, and they were shark fishing. It was right in a channel.
Oh.
A lot of big bull sharks out there. He had it on. I could tell he was using braided line because the way it sounds. You know how a braid has that like a
Mhm.
whiny noise,
Yeah.
and the pitch of the line got higher and higher and higher, and then I heard clink, and it broke, and then of course all the profanity started out on the pier. But there's been some really large fish caught off of both sides of Florida and the
Yeah,
Keys.
that's one thing I can say is, and I had people screaming and hollering at me because I was trying to get cast out there further, and so I would walk out into the water, and this is in the Gulf side, and I I was probably up above my knees, um, fishing, and I'd cast it out there, and everybody's screaming and hollering. There comes a shark, and it was swimming around me, and
Yep.
saying, "Run!" They're telling me to run, run, and
Yeah.
I got a fish at the moment, and
Right.
I don't want to lose my fish, so I just didn't pay it no mind, and
Right.
he didn't bother me at all. He
You
bumped
were
me a
in the,
couple times,
oh, he did
and
bump you.
yeah,
Well, that's him.
and
That's when they bump you, they're seeing what you are.
oh
They've got those denticles on their snout, and that's how they identify whether or not you're a tasty tidbit or you're a foreign matter that you know.
well, evidently he didn't see me as being tasty,
Right. And that was in the
which
Gulf.
is good. Yeah,
Was in the Gulf. Yeah.
and he was, oh, I don't know, maybe 6 feet
Yeah.
long.
Probably
I
a
don't think he
sandbar
was.
shark or something.
Yeah.
So, but
Well, he did it a little, the Jaws thing with his fin on top of the water.
right. Well, he's probably
Uh,
looking at your fish you had on the line too.
that's what I was wondering, because I
Yeah.
mean, I would have traded that fish for my legs any day, but
Hmm.
um,
Once
I
in a
ended up
while,
I lost
I'll
the
wade
fish.
fish. Yeah. Once in a while, I'll wade fish, but that was, you know, back in the day. I'm talking about. But anymore, no, because you hang them right off your belt loop there, and you got 5 trout flapping around, and
Oh
you're
yeah,
in waist deep water, and those sharks can hear all of that movement of the fish and the thumping and the thrashing, and
yeah.
um, we used to we I used to never ever even think twice about you'd back the boat up off the beach. You'd have to be out of the swim buoy area because of all the swimmers, and then you throw your anchor off the bow of the boat, and then you'd back up until the anchor took hold, and then I would just dive off because you could come in and get like sodas and hot dogs and stuff at this local stand here, and now there's a bunch of stands. But I was over my head, not that bad. But would I do that now? Heck no, 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 no more. It's
Yeah, and that's the thing. I see people catching sharks all the time,
mhm.
and well, I'll ask you this: are you brave enough to take the hook out,
Sure.
or do you cut the line?
Well, it depends upon the size of the fish.
Yeah.
Shark.
Well, let's say it's a 4 to 5 feet shark.
Normally, I've only caught 2 that size. They were probably closer to 4.5. You get them alongside the boat, and you've got your wire cutter, and you get the wire cutter on the metal leader, and you slide it down as close as you can to the corner of his jaw, but without, and make sure the boat's moving. That way, he's occupied. He's got some, you know, he's got a force against him where it would be harder for him to move around or whatever.
Yeah, to jump forward.
Pop it right, and then just
Yeah.
pop it with the cutter. But the little stuff, now you can bring them in, and you can get them behind the gill, and then because I don't like to lose hooks, so
Yeah, but the ones down there would be expensive, wouldn't they? Especially
yeah,
you get those
yeah,
ones that don't bend or anything,
right,
titanium or whatever they're made
yeah.
of.
You get the
Ooh.
VMC or a lot of guys used to use stainless hooks, but we look down on that now because they take so long to rust out. It's not stainless, it's
Oh,
stainless. And they don't rot away like your regular metal,
well,
the carbon steel
the
hook. So
the line is so much different than it used to be too.
yes.
I see people with this little bitty line. It doesn't
Hmm.
look like it's 8 pound test, and they pull
Yeah.
in these giant fish.
Yep.
And
That's that's what I use. It's
to me, I don't know. I kind of like that. The old line is you had to play with the drag and everything,
Right.
and tire the fish out before you brought it in. Now they just bring it in.
Well, yeah, that you're talking about monofilament, and that has its place too. And that's even come a long way. There's a lot of new like diamond
Yeah,
braid, even though it's
yeah,
not a
that's what I
braid,
heard that.
right? But the reason why I like the braided line is because uh, a line that's the diameter of 8 pound line has the strength of 20 or 25 pounds.
Yeah,
So you can get more on your reel, plus you can cast almost twice as far versus, a light lure with 20 pound monofilament. It's not going to go far. So
yeah,
there's advantages and disadvantages to both types of line. So,
yeah,
and of course, the braided line's very expensive, but everything's expensive anymore.
yeah. I was gonna say I don't think it makes, even the cheap stuff is expensive now.
You
Uh,
can still get a pretty good deal in Walmart, rod and reel
yeah,
combo, but I mean,
especially about now and next couple months.
right?
Um, I actually found a few things that I got for my little kayak.
Good.
Um,
What you get?
a crate.
Right?
They're usually $17, and it was on sale for $4.
Wow.
It's all it is just a milk crate.
Right.
But
So got a mesh over the top.
well, no, I got to make all that stuff.
Right.
So that's one of the things I'm going to be doing. But it saved me a lot of money.
Yeah. Yeah.
The I'm I was shocked that milk crates cost $17.
I remember.
Usually you get them for free, but
Yeah.
um, yeah, or pick them at a yard sale or something for $1 or
Mhm.
two. But I had been looking for a good while, and I came
Right.
across them. Well, $4, yeah, I'll take it.
And a real
And
good, a
got
good
some
quality
pros.
Ziploc bag too. Don't forget them.
Oh yeah.
That's good for your phone and your
Well,
wallet.
I'll probably end up getting a dry bag,
Well, yeah, that too.
because I have some wet shoes,
Hmm.
and I'll use that when I'm in there, and I'll put all my other stuff in there. I don't care if my clothes get wet and stuff, but
Nah.
cell phone and that kind of stuff is my wallet and keys and stuff. I want to keep that safe to where not to lose it.
Because I mean, when you get home, you're going to get wet anyway, hosing the kayak off and you
Yeah,
know getting in.
yeah,
I mean, when I would bring my boat home, I'd park it in a slanted driveway. I'd actually go to my folks' house because they had a driveway that had quite a pitch to it, and that way the boat would drain out, and I'd be just from cleaning it and hosing it off, I'd be a lot more wet then than I was going out
yeah,
fishing. So it's all
yeah.
what.
And I've seen a lot of people, that fish in the ocean, um, or saltwater. Um, that's the first thing you do, and they got special stuff that they clean it off with and
Hmm.
everything. Yeah,
A lot of products salt away, and I'm not not recommending them. I'm just do
yeah,
your own research. There's a lot of stuff that will chemically wash salt away and keep your things clean.
yeah. And that's um, the guy I watch that is doing the selling around the world. Um, he does. Um, he partnered with a company that does, and I can't remember the name of it now, but it's a brand new product, and they people use it on their houses and stuff,
Hmm. Hmm. Yep.
and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, because that's a big thing, And I would have never even thought about that. Of course, I didn't live in Florida long enough to know that you have to clean your houses of salt.
Yeah, yeah, and the mildew, and it's the salt air.
Yeah.
It starts, especially on the aluminum and the vinyl siding. Is
Oh, I bet the
it
vinyl
can it
siding.
can get gnarly. So,
Yeah.
but again, like you said, you can use that on any type of boat. Just don't spray it on your electronics, and
Yeah.
you know, let it sit for a bit and hose it off. Another good thing too, if you've got it, is a power washer.
Yeah.
If you've got a sizable boat, especially if you're on a trailer, because you've got the wand with the power washer, and you don't have to get. I mean, you can just bend over and just hose off your axle and go up and down each side of the bunks and the trailer frame and all of that stuff, and get most of the salt off of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not a low maintenance sport. It's not. It's fun. It's awesome. It's stress relieving, but if you don't clean your stuff, it goes downhill real quick.
Yeah.
You know.
And I've seen, because I've been on the market for a kayak for a good while.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people say, why don't you just get a bass boat or something? Because it's, you can almost get them for the same price and everything. But
Right.
there's a difference in the price uh, of your registration and all
Sure.
kinds of stuff that you
Mm-hmm.
need I don't need a trailer. I can just stick it in the back of my truck. I don't have to pay for a trailer tags on for a
Right.
trailer either.
Yeah. I just got
A
all of
lot
that
of stuff.
from the mail.
Yeah.
I think it's, matter of fact. Let's see.
Well, if I was down there in Florida, I wouldn't do no kayak. The people are crazy. They go out in that water on a kayak down there. I don't
Well,
see how they do it.
it's okay inshore.
Yeah, but
Just
still,
I wouldn't be
there's still
hanging big
sharks.
baits. I wouldn't be hanging big baits offshore like that. Like you see a lot of those videos, and they're off the California coast, and they're putting they're hanging a bait fish off their whatever, and you don't know what's swimming out there. So
Yeah, and like the barracudas that are swimming up there. I've seen a barracuda tear somebody's legs
yeah.
up.
Well, first rule of thumb: what is a barracuda? Or if you know there's cudas in the area, you do not swim with jewelry because they're attracted to flash.
Oh
And
yeah,
if they see something flashing, um, they're going to come after it. And they got the razor teeth, and you're going to know
yeah.
it.
And I forget what that fish was that I watched the other day that they were catching. They said these things are like torpedoes, and they'll outswim the boat.
Oh yeah.
Little bitty guy. Well, they're
Oh,
not little bitty, but like this, and they're a little slender body, and it looks like a torpedo. And they just go. Shh. They got straight fins out the side.
a little blackfin tuna, little tunny.
Well, there was one of them that was a blackfin tuna.
Yeah.
But yeah, some of the things, and how they troll, they'll just go. I mean, they're moving pretty good.
Oh yeah.
And they'll have the pole sitting out there, and it's like the line is like a couple football fields back, and these poor women are out there cranking on this thing, trying to bring him in.
Right.
So you got to do it fast to get them up on top of the water, because if they're in the water, it'll take you all day.
Yeah, it's and when you're doing that, you've got to be, I mean, eyes on. You can't be, be in Margaritaville and
Yeah.
I mean, if you're there to fish, you got to be on task, because these things show up like that, just boom, and they're right there. And if you're not ready,
Yeah.
you
And
go home.
the lures that they had on those things was over $100.
Yeah.
I'm like, holy moly. My hands would be on that reel in rod the whole time because I wouldn't want to lose that thing. But that's the them charters. They make the bucks.
Yeah. Well, it's probably $500, $600, $700 per person just for half a.
Yeah. But it would be fun. Some of those, I'll put it that way. Some of them would be fun. I did have a couple videos. I'll play some here in a little bit, but one of them was the charter. These people came from another country, flew into Florida to go out on this charter, and something had happened. I'm not sure what had happened, and he started cussing and yelling at the people because they weren't doing it right or something like this. And I'm like, wow. Uh-oh. We lost Eric. He should be back in a couple minutes. Let me get rid of that real quick until he comes back. There we go. We'll wait for him to come back. I don't know. B, are you guys storming down there? I don't think he said it was raining or anything. Or he just hit the button. We'll see. Yeah, that was crazy. I was like, wow. And these people, came all across the ocean and everything. They go to Florida to do fishing and get yelled at for this and that, and very unprofessional. Roll King, yes. Roll King does have fishing stuff. I've actually got a good catfishing pole from Roll King that was on sale. Got it for $14 reel, pole, and everything.
I just lost you guys.
Yeah, I was wondering if you guys were storming
My
down there.
we had heavy. My laptop just died out. I'm on my phone now. I'm trying to get back on my laptop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we've been having the rains. They're coming from the East Coast, and man, when they get here, I'll bet I'm going to say we had at least 3 inches in an hour, just tonight.
Yeah.
So, what were we talking about? I forget when my
I was talking about a charter. The guy was yelling at the people and everything.
Right.
I don't know if you caught any of that.
No, it just all of a sudden my screen went dark, and I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
So,
well, I do have some videos here to play.
oh, good.
Let me find it. I think this is the one they caught on the dock.
Me catch this massive fish from the dock. All right, Preston, hook him up
right here. Look at that reel.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big 10 reel.
Hook him up on that guy. Yeah. You can hold me from behind. Yeah. All right, ready? Yeah, put him in. Oh my gosh, guys, there's a giant Goliath here. He's gonna destroy this bait.
Yeah, that's a Jack Pavell.
He's still down there?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
I can see him.
Oh,
He's on. No gunnel here, man. There he is. This is the biggest fish ever from a dog. Oh my gosh.
There he is.
That is a fish and a half there.
Yeah.
Oh, it's insane.
I'm out of breath for this.
No, it's underneath the metal. Oh, trying to pull me in. He's trying to pull me in.
No, we've had it plenty of times. Oh my gosh.
Dude, he's just, this is unreal. This is unreal. Hold on. I'm trying to go. Hold on. Press me. Help me. Help me out. I need the rod, right?
Hand me the rod.
You got the leader. Yeah. Ready? Got it? Hold on. Got it? Yeah. What? Guys, we're fishing from a dock. That thing's 300 pounds all day.
That is a big fish.
That's insane.
Is it a grouper?
Let's walk him over here.
That's a Goliath grouper.
Hold on. I'm in a bad angle. Okay, I'm good now. I'm good now. Yeah. Oh.
Have you ever seen one that big at the
From a
dock?
dock.
Oh, I've seen them almost 1,000 pounds on TV.
Look at this thing right here.
That's not a Goliath group.
Yes.
That's a Goliath
That's a
grouper.
Goliath.
Here.
Yes.
Right here. I'm gonna get in the water.
Here.
Now they-
You're gonna be able to give perspective now.
Look at the size of that fish, guys. That's the biggest fish I've ever caught from a dock. Oh
Look how
my
big that
gosh.
mouth is.
Yeah.
There we go.
Gotta get that hook back.
Oh man. Yeah, I bet you a hook cost a pretty penny.
Now, I don't know if their protection status is still what it is, but they've proliferated. I mean, they've, whatever you want to call it, proliferated so much that there's almost too many of them, and they're chasing a lot of the game fish off of the, the reefs and
Oh,
the bridge pilings and all that. So they want to have at least the last time I heard from FWC, they wanted to do a limited season on them, just to kind of cull the population, because this protective status, they're just, obviously they can eat anything. We had a diver went in the grouper's mouth and got out through the gill. This was like, I don't know, maybe
Really?
8-10 years ago. Yep. Do you remember that guy? He was, I don't know if it was his show. His name was Manny, and he was kind of like almost looked like a jungle dude. And he was down in the Keys, and he would free dive like the old Key West Bridge, which is no longer driven on. It's the old bridge. And
yeah.
he would go down, and they film these giant grouper that were easily 600-700 pounds. And the closer you got to them, they'd start to thump. That's their warning. They got this thing inside their jaw, and you start hearing the bump, 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 and it's basically telling them, hey, you're getting too close, buddy. And these fish will tear you up. I mean, they don't look for you, but if you antagonize them, it's not too smart.
That's why I was going to ask if they had any teeth.
They do, but they're,
Small,
along
like
the inside,
little
just inside the lip. Yeah, small.
Yeah. Oof. I wouldn't want to mess with one of them.
No.
Yeah.
But what they use for bait, that's a Jack Clavel, and that's one of the main baits they use. And they'll put a live one in there, and they'll tail hook it with a big 3 or 4 ounce lead weight, and they'll throw it down next to a piling or a big a bumper, they call it, protects the bridges, and just hold on, because that type of fish will pull you in the water.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah. Well, let's see if I can't get back on my laptop here.
Well, have you ever did this? You good?
Not losing that shit.
He went in after his pole.
All right, give me a hand and pull me over.
No, my pole, it didn't mean enough to me. We were under a bridge when that happened. And it was a grouper that took it, and I'm like, I'm not diving into that deep water for that pole. No.
Oh,
Nope.
I don't know. There's some I don't know. I've went in after poles before. I remember my son was down at the same area that I took a picture of me fishing, and a catfish pulled his pole in the water. I went right in and jumped in and grabbed it and caught the fish, soaking wet.
Right.
I still have sand inside my wallet from that. And that was at least 10, 12 years ago.
Wow. Yeah, the only thing I remember that's that comical, we rescued a Dalmatian years ago, and you know what? I'm going to get back on my laptop. I'll be right back.
Okay. Yeah, I've caught a pole that had a fish still on it. Got a brand new fishing pole, and started pulling it in, reeled it in, and it actually still had a fish on it.
Well, yeah, I did. I did lose a pole. I don't know. I must have been about 11, 12 years old. And it was on a wooden dock, and you just heard it going clank, 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 clank right off the end of the dock. And it was one of those gaff top sailfish or sail cat. So we never thought we'd see the rod and reel again. And my brother was reeling something in, and I don't know what he had. Well, he ended up catching my line and got the line and pulled up one end was the rod and reel, and the darn catfish was still on the other end. But no, what I was saying about the Dalmatian that we rescued, we had my niece and nephew, my sister used to send them to me every summer. And I used to teach them how to fish. So they finally learned how to hook a shrimp. And at first it bothered them because, shrimp's got a horn right on top of his head that points straight ahead, and he's got one on his tail too. Anyway, long story short, they finally knew how to go into the bait well with a net and hook the shrimp where it needed to be. And this Dalmatian, her name was Lady, and every fish that came over on board, she'd have to snip at it or taste it or just, bite it. Well, I was up on the bow of the boat where the trolling motor is, and one of the kids was pulling a fish in, and I just heard this big bosh. So I turned around, and there was no more Dalmatian on the back of the boat. She had dove in after this fish, and that was that was probably the most escapades that we've had.
Yeah, I rescued a Dalmatian. Unfortunately, because at the time we lived in a city, and he was an inside dog, which was not a good thing because he was crazy wild.
Right.
And then we moved out into the country, and he loved it out there because he could run around and be crazy and whatnot. And during the night, I would tie him up next to his doghouse and everything. And he ended up catching a rabbit, and the rabbit had some kind of disease or something, and he got sick and died like in 24 hours.
Yep.
And
I think
just because it was a rabbit. I don't know what the rabbit had or anything, but
yeah,
you knew that was the cause.
I think this Dalmatian that we had was from a puppy mill, and somebody got sick of it because it showed up at my sister's front gate on her farm, and the kids let her in, and next thing you know, just sitting in my back seat on I-4 going, "Oh," I'm like, "Oh crap, you got nothing." So,
we had one of those. We stopped at a gas station and was getting gas, and my wife went in to pay, and I was pumping, and we had a little minivan, and the side door was open. She was probably going to give them snacks or something. I don't know what it was, but we're going down the road probably an hour later, and I hear, you know, a little bit of dog noise. And I'm like, what the heck is that? When we were at the gas station, this little dog jumps into the back of the car or the minivan, and the kids kept it quiet in the back seat. And we're done an hour away from that place, and I said, "Oh, great!"
right.
I ended up calling the gas station when we got home and asked if there anybody missing a dog or something, that it stowawayed in my van, and nobody ever did claim it. So we ended up keeping that dog, and we had it for about 8-10 years. Little white, weird looking Chihuahua looking thing. But
yeah, those Chihuahuas and Chihuahuas. Her name was Minnie. She was 23 years old when she died. She was found on the streets of Tampa. With those mixed breeds, sometimes they live a long time.
Yep.
So when do you think you're going to put your new acquisition in the water? And
when it cools off.
Yeah, right. I'm the same
man.
way.
It's so hot right now.
I know.
I mean, we're close to 100 degrees every day. Well, it feels like, which I don't get, but yeah.
We've got 93 all week long, and it feels like, I think, 106, maybe 107, something like that.
That's what it is here. And it's like, it would seem good to get it out there in the water, and then I'd probably drink all my water up in the first half an hour, and then have to pedal back to get back. So I'm like, it'd be good just to get it out and just drive it around a little bit and get used to it and whatnot. But oh man, it is roasty out there. I mean, just walking from the truck to the store, it's hot.
It's like soup.
Yeah, so hopefully next week is supposed to be nice and cool. It's supposed to be in the 80s.
Well, I'll take that too.
Yeah.
You know, they sell I don't know if you ever watch a fishing show that's like on cable or whatever. A lot of people will wear those pullovers. It goes over your head, and then it just shows you know, just shows the opening of your face from your jaw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was wondering about that because I
And-
see a lot of people doing that. And I'm like,
Yeah, I've
well,
done
I
it many.
can understand the back of the neck.
No, but it covers your ears and it keeps your cheeks from being burnt. And some of the units,
I don't have any problems with the cheeks getting burnt. Maybe my nose though.
yeah, zinc
But
oxide.
I have one of those.
Do you?
Yeah, because I got it with a hat, which I would be wearing that hat too.
Right. I wear a big brimmed hat.
Yeah. The
It's one of those
Marine style. Hats.
Yeah, it looks like I'm in a rice paddy. It's so damn big. So. But you can buy a water activated gel. It's almost like a neck pillow that just almost goes around your whole neck, and it just sits on your shoulders, and it gets cold, and you'd be surprised how that wicks the heat out of you.
Yeah, and they got the t-shirts now, or the long sleeve shirts that let the sun shine through, but blocks the UVs.
Right.
So
yeah,
I might think about updating and right now it's a good time because that stuff is on clearance.
Right. I used to fish in short sleeves all the time, but no more. I got the long sleeve stretch. I think Columbia makes them. They're like SPF 30, so they claim, but you know, I don't go by that. But
oh yeah,
if you don't cover your arms, they're, you know,
well,
you're miserable the next day.
The short sleeve part is already tan, but I would still burn.
Yeah. And you get used to it. At first it was kind of, I wouldn't say cumbersome, but just didn't feel right. But then, you know, after 5 or 6 trips with no sunburn on my arms, I'm just not that I didn't put any sunscreen on, but you get used to it.
Yeah. And I'll show you this other video because, you know, you're supposed to have people on the boat that helps you and stuff. Have you ever ran into this issue?
Get in here. Get in here. Get in here. Get in here. Oh my God, these fish are so annoying. Dude. Dude, this is painful. Get in this boat.
You finally got it.
That's a record, bro.
The poor guy.
Standing there doing
this dude is just sitting there not doing anything.
Yeah, I think we'd have to have a talk with him. Where's the net?
Well, I'm hearing this, and I don't know if it's true or not, but I've been seeing a lot of this, that certain tournaments you're not allowed to use nets.
Oh yeah, but I
don't know why.
I didn't think this was the tournament because there should be a guy
that's
there.
What I was thinking that it might be.
I don't know what the BAS circuit, what their the reasoning for that rule.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
But most guys either
skill thing or something.
They either haul them out of the water with the rod and reel, as you know, like
sling them out,
or they scoop them, or they lip them. Now, if it comes into the boat and you go to put it on the scale and it falls and hits the top of the deck, or when you swing it in, it hits the top, that's a 2-minute penalty. So once you've got your fish weighed, then you've got to wait 2 minutes. It's either 2 minutes or 5 minutes. No, it might be 5 minutes before you can put a line back in.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Let's see. I can't remember what this one is though, but
no way this just happened.
Oh yeah.
Nice. Wait for it.
Yeah, bait's back in the water.
All right, buddy. Till next time.
Little bass.
Oh. No way.
He caught the
You
same
can't
fish.
make that up. You cannot make that.
I've caught 2 fish on one jointed lure. I've done it twice. It was on a jointed Rapala, like a medium swim bait. And these
Yeah.
2 they weren't big bass, maybe
Yeah.
pound each, but they both slammed the lure, and the one got the rear hook, and the other one got the front hook, treble one. No, that the odds of that happening again are
Yeah. Unless it's on camera,
right.
nobody gonna believe
I
it.
do have a photo of it, so that's about it.
No, there you go. Is it black and white?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
It was probably, I don't know, 22, 23.
Okay.
So the colors actually still stayed on the print.
Yeah. That I remember when I did a lot of dock fishing, and I remember
yeah.
the first time fishing down there. I caught a big fish, and I didn't think I was going to catch a bigger, and I had no clue how to get the fish because there's no way it would have made it for me reeling it all up.
Right.
And some guy come down there and he says, "You want me to net that for you?" And I'm looking down there because it's a long ways down, and I'm like, "What?" Because he doesn't have no 30-foot pole or whatever.
Right.
So,
right.
and he throws this little thing over the side, and it's just a brown net like this, and it has a rope to it, and drops it down in there. And he says, "Bring it over to the left a little bit," and he pulls it up, and
Yeah.
and I thought that was the coolest thing, and that's
like a crab
that's
net.
how
Net.
I
Yeah.
figured out how they did that. And I was like, because I always wondered that, you see all these people up on the dock fishing. I'm like, how, if they get a real big one, how are they getting that thing up there?
Yeah. That's one of my favorite ways to fish down here is dock fishing, because there's just a single dock, but if it's 6 or 7 feet of water at the end, and then it gradually gets shallow, I'll work one edge down the one side, the right side, and that's like using a paddle tail and a lead jig head, and then I'll work the center, cast up all the way underneath the dock, and bounce that back down, and then I'll work up the left side. And a lot of times there's nothing, or you'll go right side, center, and then the left side ends up with this giant freaking redfish that out of nowhere. So dock fishing can be very interesting. It can also be heartbreaking too, because they get you around those pilings, even with braided line. And if it's a big fish, say goodbye. You gotta be quick.
And I remember fishing out there in California. I believe it was toward Long Beach area. This is a long time ago, and we'd be fishing, and all of a sudden here comes the surfers, which they're not allowed to do this, but they still did it. They would go through the dock because it's way up in the air,
Right.
so,
Right.
and the waves would come crashing through there, and that was the cool thing to do, is go through. And they would snag lines left and right, and if you didn't see, if they were coming from the backside, you didn't see them coming. A lot of them got cut pretty bad from the line,
especially if it was braided line. Yeah. I see bomber fishing at the lake.
Does bushcraft fish for catfish and ER for dogfish?
Fish.
You can't eat dogfish, can you?
It's a type of shark. I I don't know if
Oh,
there's
is it?
any table fare there or not.
Oh, okay.
I know fish goes good with corn, right? TH2. Well, but and what you were talking about the other day, sheep's head, we call them the convict fish down here because they're black and white, like
They,
convict would wear white, black and white
the
stripes.
lady cooking them up though, that looked really good.
Mhm.
Just frying them up in butter. Oh man,
Yeah.
that looked really good.
I like peanut oil.
Oh yeah, that'll be
Fish.
good.
But like down here, you'll get the tarpon run in the spring, and then the late summer they start heading back south. And then you get the kingfish tournaments, which is a king mackerel.
Yeah, I see
I
the
mean,
kingfish.
it's big money too. These guys that go off with these, offshore boats that have like 400s on them, and I mean they're bringing home hundreds of thousands of dollars for these,
Yeah,
these tournaments. Of course, they're in all of them. So
yeah.
they go from, I think that tour goes from like North Carolina around Florida and then back up off the coast of Texas. So it's a good area. A lot of area to cover, but
That Lucas Black, he was an actor. He still does a little acting here and there, but mostly now he's fishing and hunting, and he'll get
that's
them.
not the guy from NCIS, is it? The young guy?
The Los Angeles, not Los Angeles, but Louisiana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And he, oh, he makes videos of him casting his rubber worms and stuff, and he'll use his wife's kitchen stuff to do it.
I think I saw that one.
She gets so mad. You using up my good skillet again, or pan?
That's like, yeah, that's like if you're watching a Pew Pew channel and the guy's cleaning his toy there, and the wife comes in and sees all this degreaser on her cooking surface, this crap, and I'm like,
yeah, he saves all of his like the rubber worms and the lures and stuff, and then because he has all the cast and everything,
right?
So he'll melt it all down and make his own. And he says, people, he'll go by the docks and pick those broken pieces up and everything. He'll come back with a big bucket full of that stuff.
Melt them down.
Yeah.
I don't know if they still have the record, and if they do have the record, it's only because they've been around so long. But the rubber worm has probably caught more trophy fish.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it.
Than any other type of lure. I think that's still true. I could be wrong, but
yeah, I went and got Ollie's of all places has them on sale.
Yes, I was there today. They are on sale.
Yeah, you can get a whole pack of them for pretty cheap.
Yeah,
that's probably going to be one of the first things I'm going to try. That and I'm always a fan of the rooster tail.
Yep. That's a good stream. That's good in the streams too.
Always. Oh yeah. Trout go crazy over those. I've caught more fish off of rooster tail probably than any other bait, besides, live bait.
Right. I believe that's made by Mepps.
Mepps?
Mepps. MEPPS.
Oh.
The brand.
So what would you say of freshwater? What is your favorite fish to eat? And
that's
for
going to be
saltwater. What would be your favorite fish?
Be a tough one. Well, one of the, and I'm not saying it is but one of the best freshwater fish that I've ever eaten is a walleye.
Walleye? Huh.
Well, yeah. I mean, they're in the pike family, but they're just delicious. And then you've got your salmonoids, whether it's a rainbow or a brown or a brook trout, salmon, landlocked salmon, freshwater.
Oh, yeah,
They're all
crappies are
good too. Oh yeah, panfish, crappie, absolutely.
yeah.
So it's that's why I say panfish, because there's crappie, there's bluegill, there's red ear, there's like 25 different names. So I just say panfish.
Yeah.
Yeah, catfish is good.
Yeah. Catfish would be more trustable 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Now you have to know what's in that water, because I've caught catfish down here, and even though it's in a pond and everything, I'm still leery of what goes into that water.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I used that. Pat's talking about catfish. Ark put up a recipe months and months ago about the batter that he used, and I don't know if I probably pulled a video, but I know I put it up on YouTube, and that was the best deep fried breading I've ever had. So he's got it somewhere on his channel. And that I used the catfish chunks, but those are farm raised.
Yeah.
Because at least it's a controlled environment, and
you just have to be careful which farms you get them from.
Right.
Yeah. Now they have them up toward Michigan. They got this one plant that they raised a special DNA. They switched the DNA. They split the DNA with like 4 other different fish to make huge salmon.
Right.
So
bioengineered salmon.
Yep.
What next?
And everybody thinks it's, oh no, they're not going to do that. It's there. They advertise that they do this. It's they mix it with different types of like 4 different fish. Of course, the salmon, and there's other ones. I can't remember what the other ones were, but just to make them bigger and fatter fish.
Well, they do that to beef.
Oh yeah.
I think the last, and it's sad when you think about it, the last, I think it's 4 months of the life expectancy of a beef cow, they double their feed to fatten them up before they go to market. So baked with lemon, yep, that's good too. I see Dana B mentioned snook. Snook is an awesome fish to eat, but they're also known as the soap fish. So if you don't skin them properly, you feel like you're 5 years old again, and your mom's got a bar of soap down your throat. You got to be careful. But
one fish that I didn't think would be any good, because just the fact that the guy who was cleaning it was used to hatch it, was an alligator gar. And oh, that was one of the best fish
really
I ate. Yeah, it was really good. But to get into that thing, well, I've even seen them use a chainsaw.
Yeah, well, they're dinosaurs.
And I'm like, what?
They haven't changed.
What is that thing made out of? You see sparks flying out of that thing. Like, dang. But the guy that did it with a machete, he banged it this way, and then he like this, and it was like, after that was off, he just sliced it right up like a normal fish and fried it up in chunks. And oh man, that stuff was really good.
Now you were talking about fish farms down here. They have a stocking program where they do redfish and trout. I don't know if they do snook yet or not. They probably do, but that helps to, repopulate the species, because some of the red tides that come through, and when the
Oh,
sugar
yeah.
plants are doing their bad thing and dumping bad water just to get
Yeah.
over the money and all that, that's just, I call them environmental, starts with a T and ends with an ist.
Yeah.
So that's good that they at least have a program where they can repopulate.
Oh,
And they
yeah.
get the male and female fish right from the local waters to do the, to do the breeding. So Ohio, this is carp. No, that thing's a dinosaur, the alligator gar. That was the alligator.
Believe it or not, the carp is good if you can it. And can it with the bones and everything. They chop it in chunks and stuff it in a jar and can it, and you eat it a year later or whatever. Oh man, there's no bones because it's all the bones got softened by the canning process.
Right.
I was like, wow, this is carp. Because usually people catch a carp and they throw it on the bank,
Right.
or suckers, which is a carp. But yeah, I've seen some guy catching them and keeping them. I said, "What, you eat those things?" And he said, "Yeah." He says, "We don't eat them, like fillet them or anything like that." He says his wife cans them up, and the next week he brought me a can, and I tried it. I thought it was going to be like the pickled herring things,
Right.
and
With the hair.
whatnot. It was good. I was like, wow.
Yeah, smoked fish are good. Like down here, smoked mullet, the mullet spread, and they'll mix in some kingfish. That's just awesome stuff.
The best smoked fish I've had was salmon.
Mm-hmm.
And that was up in Oregon.
Right.
When I lived up there. That's some good. Oh, that's some fun fishing there.
Yeah, all those streams.
Yeah. And that's another time I ran into a bear, was up there setting up there fishing.
That was my next question. How many bears did you see?
Yeah. And the guy the kid I was with at the time, I was like, this bear's just sitting down there, and he goes into the water and looks over at us, and I said, "You see this?" And he was gone. I'm like, "Where did you go?" He was gone. He was up by the road, and he said, "I'm not going back there ever again."
Right.
That the bear paid no mind to us. He was more interested in that fish swimming back and forth.
Right. But some of the shows that you see on TV, like if they take a group out, whether it's in Alaska or wherever in bear country, the guide normally has something that's slung over his shoulder down to his waist and his scabbard, and
Yeah.
a protection toy, so to speak, if you will.
Yeah.
And you should have that.
Nowadays, everybody carries the bear
spray.
Yeah. Back then, I don't even know if they even had it back then.
I don't think so.
This was when I was a kid, so yeah. I remember a stepbrother I had at the time. My one stepbrother was shooting slugs on a rock with a BB gun, and he missed the slug, and it hit the rock, and the BB shot his brother in the face. And he had a BB stuck in there for a good while.
Yeah, that's my uncle who's passed on now. He had well, they said it was an accident. And he had multiple pellets in his arm and he never bothered to, and I'm like, they're lead. You probably might want to get that out of you. And nope.
Yeah, I think these are copper or brass.
Yeah. Well, now, like down here, if you duck hunt and you're anywhere near brackish water, you got to use stainless steel shot, and that's just for the environment. They'd rather have stainless steel shot in the water than lead, which I can see to a point. But the only thing with stainless steel shot is it beats up the inside of your bore on your barrel.
Yeah,
because it's so much harder. So
probably have to have replacements.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm waiting for the cooler weather too, and
yeah,
I got to get out. I gotta go. I know I say it all the time, but I'm ready.
Want to at least get out to where I can test the motor and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I also have to figure out how to hook that fish finder up. I've never used a fish finder, so
well,
I have an idea.
Power cord, right?
Huh?
Does the power cord run to the battery?
Well, I don't know how it was, if it was ran to a battery or a smaller battery.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure you could run it off of both, the fish finder and the trolling motor.
Trolling motor, yeah, you could run it off just the one battery.
Because it does have a little doohickey that went with it too.
That's probably the transducer. That's what's got to go underwater.
No. The brackets are broken off of it to where it hung off the side.
Okay.
But my thinking is, kayak has holes in it, and they have plugs to where you can pull the plug out to where you can drain the water in there.
Right.
But what I'm thinking is running the wire up through there and then plugging it to where it stays there.
Okay.
And then hooking it up through that there. That way, I don't have nothing hanging over the side or anything like that.
Right.
And I've seen others do that too. So.
Yeah, that kayak fishing has taken the past, I don't know, 10 years has really caught on big time.
Yeah, there's one guy that I watch, and he has every little fancy little thing you would think of that goes on that thing, and his rig is over $50,000.
Oh man,
for a kayak.
I hope he's a tournament fisherman.
I think so. I wouldn't. Yeah, he would almost have to be.
You're not kidding, unless he's got a lot of coin.
Yeah, it's just amazing how. In that one I've got, it's right under 10 feet, which is probably. I'll probably look pretty big in that thing. But I know a guy that is 6'8" and over 300 pounds that has the same boat that goes out.
No.
And I'm like, I don't know how he does it, but it holds up to 450 pounds.
Right. That's
you in gear and everything. So I've got plenty of, I don't have hardly any gear right now, but yeah, I've got a lot. It might be your cousin. I was like, holy moly, that's a big guy. And it looks like he's sitting in a little,
like a lounge chair.
Yeah, but I mean, there's still room room from him sinking in it.
Right.
Like, wow.
Well, those kayaks are not cheap. They're
No.
like a cooler, like a Yeti or whatever. They all come roto molded, and
Yeah.
they're all full of that closed cell foam, and you can't sink them. They just pop right back up. I mean, it's not.
Yeah. To be able to sink this thing, it'd be really hard. You have to open it up and fill it all up with water, and I think it would still float.
It would, because it's lined with foam.
I don't think this one's
closed
got
cell.
foam in it.
There should be foam,
but
bladder.
it's got air compartments in it.
Is there a Coast Guard sticker on it? The certification?
I don't know.
Like max people, max weight, max whatever.
I think there is something that says the 450-pound limit in there. There's only one seat, so I could probably fit a little kid up there, but
yeah,
yeah, I wouldn't want to though.
No.
And the life jacket I got is one of those
Around the waist ones.
No, it's just a little bitty thing that
Okay.
if it gets wet, or it has a little thing you can pull too.
So you wear it uninflated.
Yeah. And
Right.
if you get in the water, if you fall in the water, it goes.
Right.
Which is probably scare the crap out of me too. Because I was wondering, I'm like, wait, what happens if I'm out there and it starts pouring down raining? I have to go get another CO2.
Two shirts. Yeah, it seems like everyone's got the heat. I know the Midwest was record. I mean, bad heat.
Yeah.
Very bad.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and end it here. And
well, thank you for inviting me to your
thanks for
fishing
coming
show.
on.
Appreciate it.
Always good to talk about fishing and stuff.
Absolutely.
I was kind of getting the bug whenever I randomly came across that one guy that was a kayaker, and we were talking about fishing and kayaking and stuff. And I was getting the bug then.
Right.
And now that because every once in a while I would check Facebook Market, and I'd do the kayak thing. And most of the time it was the set in kayaks where you stick your leg in that thing and you paddle, and there's nothing else to it. So I did the thing fishing kayak, and oh boy, that opened up a whole bunch of other stuff. And that's when I started looking at the other kayaks, and then noticed that there's a lot of people, companies would stick a rod holder and call it a fishing kayak.
Sure.
And
absolutely. That's like people put a big set of tires on the rear end of their car and call it a hot rod.
Yeah.
So, well, hopefully we're able to catch some fish and come back and show some pictures and
Yeah, I just have to figure a way to hook my GoPro up. They have things that you can buy, but they're like $300, and all it is a pole. So I've been looking around for something adjustable that I can just stick in the back of the boat, and then put a little thing on top of it.
Right.
Because I've got something from Temu coming that I think I can rig up that would work. So we'll have to see. I'm not going to spend $300 on
No, I would think
a stick.
Like if you're fishing topwater, you'd either want it like mounted on your chest or mounted on your forehead, the GoPro.
Yeah, I can't use. I've got a chest.
Your forehead, you could though, right?
Yeah, I could.
mean, that way, because you're looking right at the lure, so you know that's where the camera is.
Yeah, the one thing I was wanting to do is because I do have the rod holders that come with the boat that are indented into the boat. I
Right.
was wanting to stick one back there and have the view behind my head
Sure.
of what I'm looking at where I'm casting and stuff.
Right. Then you could do a split screen with it, right? From each
Yeah.
camera.
Yeah. If once I get, to where I'm like, well, I'm not going to sit, I'm not going to flip this thing.
Right.
I'll bring my cell phone out and I can record from another angle.
You're not gonna flip it. You'll be fine.
Yeah. Well,
'Cause
no, that's the thing. All these kayakers say it's not if you're going to flip your kayak, it's when you're going to flip
yeah.
it.
But your unit's like twice as wide as a kayak, so
Yeah, it's a pretty good size. I mean, I've seen videos of them purposely trying to flip it, and they have to stand on the edge
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
lean over to do it. But see, that's that learning process. Once I get a fish,
Sure.
there's you have to lean over, and if you're not used to it, you just flop over.
Right. Yeah,
Because it's in such a small thing. You just go bloop.
there's a learning curve to everything, but you'd probably feel if you were going over. I mean, it's
Oh yeah, and that's the thing with this boat. It has a swivel like a captain's chair.
right.
So if instead of going over like this and to get a fish, I can just turn sideways and
There you
scoop them
go.
out.
You know, what would probably be a good idea too is get a net and shorten the length of the handle.
Well, they have them, and well, the guy that I had up there is the Wendell guy. He
Right.
has this one net that fits on here, and it has a little brace on the back of his hand, and he goes like this, and it goes out. But I'm not spending $180 on a fish net.
No, of course not.
Unless the fish automatically jump into the net for me. No. I have a couple things on Facebook Market that I'm talking to people trying to lower them down on some of their.
Oh,
that
you mean you're in
holds up.
negotiations?
Yeah.
Nothing wrong
If
with that.
not, then the fish will have to jump into the boat.
Right. There's actually some rivers, I forget what run it's called, but the fish go nuts when the boat comes through, and you got to duck because it hits you right in the face. I forget what kind of fish there. It's the
Whitefish.
Is it the shad run? Or?
Yeah. Nebraska, that they do that all the time, and
But I mean, it's hundreds of them. You
fish.
gotta go out with a football helmet on it.
Yeah. Yeah, people's got knocked out.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's like the catfish thing when they do the noodling and they set it up on their shoulder. Those catfishes swung their tail back around and
right.
We'll knock them out. And
right. Yeah, Ruben's got it. Asian carp. That's
Asian carp.
Yeah, and they are an invasive species, so you want them in your boat actually.
Yeah.
You just don't want to get slapped in the face by one. So that's another case of somebody introducing a species that don't belong there, and
Yeah.
I mean, there's some parts of the country where if you're putting a boat in, you have to be inspected. If you got any type of mussels on your hull or any growth of anything, you're not going in, because that can introduce, another species of, mollusk or crustacean or whatever that could eventually, be detrimental to that particular watershed. So it can get pretty strict.
Yeah, that's Around here, like I'll be going over to Lake Park a lot, playing around and getting used to it and doing some fishing because everybody fishes on the banks that you can walk to. And
Right.
all the rest is pretty much you can't get to. And um, there's a section where there used to be a dock, and that's really good fishing there. But the dock's not there, and you can't get back there anyway. But if you have a boat, you can get back there.
Right.
So
It would probably be good for you to troll some lures too.
that I have to. There's rules against trolling, evidently.
Really?
Yeah.
Hmm.
I didn't know that until somebody else from Ohio that I just started watching. I think it's either in Miami County or Miami River, and they were pulling out bass left and right. He caught a 10-pound bass out of that river that wasn't probably 4 feet deep.
Okay, they were probably using an umbrella rig where there's like 10 lures on this like metal setup, and it looks like
I
a
don't
school
know.
of fish, because they've been
No,
banned down here too.
Well, he just said that you have to be careful. Like if you leave your pole out and you motor up,
Right.
and you get caught doing that, trolling is illegal, he said. And I don't know what part of it, or it's something that I have to dig into,
Yeah.
because I've got pole holders in the back, to
Right.
where that would be perfect for
Yep.
when I'm going from one spot to the other.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, you could just set it in the rod holder and then have your clicker on and set the drag a little less, so
yeah,
when he hits,
so
he
my
gets
pole
hooked.
doesn't get ripped out.
Right. But yeah, I didn't know that there's some spots that are, but every state and municipality has their own rules. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a given. So
Yeah, I'll guaranteed I'll find the trolls.
like down here, it's illegal to fish live bait, uh, shrimp, that is, with a treble hook, a tiny treble hook. You have to use just a single hook. Now, if you're kingfishing off the beach, you can use a treble hook, because that's called a stinger rig. You'll have your main hook will be like right behind the shoulder, and then there'll be a fine wire that runs just dangles down his back, and you hook a treble hook, behind his pec fin, way in the back, and that's just in case he short strikes you and doesn't get the main hook.
Yeah,
That's why they call it a stinger rig. But it's weird. You can use treble hooks for some fish, and you can't use them for other fish. So
yeah,
you really got to know your stuff.
Yeah.
50 feet from shore.
Just like the limits and everything. I mean, and I've watched that the show where it's the game wardens are out there and stuff, and somebody will measure a fish, and it'll say like 14 inches, and the game warden will come up and he'll say, oh, that's 12 inches. And he said, no, it's 14. I measured it and everything. And they compare the two different boards for measuring, and they're not the same. And they go with the one that the game warden is using.
Right.
So it's, ooh.
Well, here we call it a law stick. So I make sure I buy it from the state. That way, if there's a mix up, it's like, well, that's on you, not on me.
Yeah.
So
And that's what I was looking at, as Is those dots, each dot, is that an actual inch, or is it just a roundabout an inch?
Right. Oh, you have a
Because
built-in one on your kayak?
yeah, the whole floor has
Okay.
dots, and every dot
I
is
would
an
just
inch.
put a regular tape measure that you get from Home Depot down on it. See if it squares up.
Yeah, yeah, and those boards are expensive.
Yes, they
Some of
can be.
those graphite ones that they
Mhm.
have, that's like $80 for a board you measure a fish with.
Right.
I'm like, geez, I said, I'm just gonna cut me a part of a pallet up and just put glue a ruler on it.
Yeah. Another thing too with measuring fish, and it'll specify too whether the tail fin is open or it's pinched. Because if you take the
Yeah,
tail fin and take the top and bottom and pinch it down, it actually makes the fish longer because the tail is starting to extend.
yeah,
And there's some fish you can do that with, and there's some fish that you're not allowed to do that with.
yeah.
So
Somebody was saying that they got in the habit, instead of measuring the fin part of it, they would measure from the tail and not even include that way they were safe.
yeah, but I mean, if it's a keeper, you could be missing out. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Use the right technique, but and then I've seen shows where I shouldn't say shows, but stories where the guy's fish was just like a quarter inch over slot or something like that, or an eighth of an inch. And what they do, they take, and I think this is disgusting, but they'll have a little rubber mallet on board and they'll deform the nose of the fish to make it meet the
oh boy.
maximum. Yeah. Oh, you'd be surprised when money's involved. And
Oh yeah, I
there was
remember the weighted fish.
yeah, I was just going to bring
In
that up.
Ohio.
Those guys up in was that Ohio?
Yeah,
And they were sticking lead weights in their, I think it was walleye, wasn't it?
I don't know what fish it was, but all I know is
And
the weights had came out, and it's
yeah,
like, whoops.
and they had been winning year after year these local tournaments.
And
And
you gotta. How long have they been doing that?
years. They
I only
actually
did it this year.
yeah,
Yeah,
they actually had I don't know if YouTube even still has it on, but they had the dash cam or the cop cam, whatever you want to call it. They pulled up to all of these people screaming in the parking lot at the weighing station.
yeah,
And they were about to put the boots to these two cheaters, and they're
yeah,
lucky the cops showed up.
yeah,
It turns out they did pursue them, and legally they had to forfeit all their money, and I think they had to give back 2 of the boats they had won over the past 2 years.
Ooh,
They literally took them back. Well, they're cheaters,
that's
you
good.
know. Yeah. So, and now everyone and all of the honest fishermen know who they are. So if they're not going to show their
Yeah.
face again. That's just you mess with a guy's money, and
Mhm.
that ain't good. So his nose is
Yeah.
itchy tonight, huh?
That's like when the professional sports, the point shaving and all that stuff.
Yeah, I see. Another young lady filed a grievance with that scoring system. You know, that one gymnast
Yeah.
was complaining. Now there's another one that's filing a complaint.
Yeah. If they can get away with it, they're going to. And I'm not saying one's less involved than the other, but yeah, there needs to be rules in place to where it's not so easily changed on the fly.
Right.
You know, oh, you were 0.2 seconds from claiming you were the right score on there or something. And it's like, yeah, but when did you start counting that 1.2 seconds?
Right.
Was it after I said something about it, or was it when I was walking up to it, or
Yeah. Well,
there's so much involved in that.
It's my understanding that they weren't given the points based on the degree of difficulty for
Yeah.
their floor exercise. So that's the flat out rule. And if you're
Yeah.
not given the points based on the difficulty,
But she had so long to voice those concerns,
right?
and she was 1.1 seconds away from the deadline. And that's what I was wondering. I said, well, when did this time start? Did it start at the end of, the scoring? Did it start? And there's no real cut when they started the timer, because you have like 5 minutes to report disagreements or whatever.
Right.
And she was 1.1 seconds away. And that's what they kind of made it up on the fly. Well, it started now, and not there's no real time. Like, does that 5 minutes start after the score? Does it start after the performance? And they made it up on the fly like that. And that wasn't right. But yeah, you'll always have that kind of stuff. Somebody will find a way around it. Unfortunately, nowadays it's men putting dresses on and I'm breaking all kinds of records.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's another thing entirely.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
But anyway, I gotta get out there and start watering before it gets too late.
You still got enough daylight to water?
Yeah, there's still a little bit.
Wow.
I can water at nighttime anyway. It's a lot cooler out there now. But I want to thank everybody for hanging out.
Yes, thank you.
Thank
all the chat,
Eric
all of our
here.
friends in chat. Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully I'm going to start asking a few other people if they want to come up here on Wednesday and see how things go. I'm already kind of, chatting with people here and there. Of course, I'm chatting with the bigger channel, so that they're like, oh, a bigger channel's interested. And then they find out I only got 1,000 subscribers on this one. But yeah, you never know. We'll see how it goes. But
and hopefully
make sure you guys hit that like button and all that stuff. And
yes.
Hopefully once it starts getting cooler, I'll have some actual fishing content.
Well, this was good.
Yeah.
This was very good. Well,
yep.
Maybe next time I'll bring some pictures. I got to find some pictures where I don't look so horrible though. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, I don't have no outro, so we'll just go ahead and end it here.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody for hanging out.
Yeah.
And
tight lines, guys. Tight lines.
We'll catch you on the next one.